Hi, Perlia. Is that how you say your name, Perlia? Very pretty. I'm having a great day. How are you doing? Hi, Perlia. Is that Perlia? Oh, are you talking about Froggy? Froggy is a little imp, is what Froggy's doing. He's become a teenager and he thinks he needs to inspect everything. Yeah, I thought about bringing Froggy out, but if I bring Froggy out, I have to bring out Toki right now. And if I did that, well, let's just say we already had a crazy live stream yesterday, and I'm not in the mood. But maybe near the end I might bring out both of them because they do like to be out hanging out with us. So, how are your birds doing? On how to raise them? What kind of birds are they? Remind me. Because I've noticed that every bird is different. So, depending on which birds you have would depend on what you need to do for them. One thing that is consistent is they need to have enough food, water, and daylight. And they need to have, okay, you have lovebirds too. Give them a nesting box and give them lots of material that they can uh, use for their nesting box. Have your birds had babies before? Because if they've already had babies before, you're probably doing everything right. Maybe it's just afterwards that you might want some tips. But if you want to start them having babies, then yeah, the main thing is give them lots and lots of nesting materials. And I like to take my newspapers and the ads, the store ads, and just fold them up and slide them in between the bars on the cage, and they'll just shred them and use them constantly. It probably doesn't matter if you didn't have them before. It's going to be a whole new setting anyway. So you don't need to contact whoever gave them to you if you don't want to. You can. doesn't hurt. But mostly just make sure that they have a nice nesting box and plenty of material. I have a video that talks about preparing a nesting box. You can put like bedding for pets. Sorry, I'm getting old. My brain does not recall words for me. That's where it's going to get me. You can put in the bedding for like hamsters, that paper bedding, and they love that. And you want to put in about 2 inches to get them started, because the mama bird will go in and pack that down tight, and it will work out to be just the perfect tension, so that when those baby birds come in, that they won't get splayed legs, because they can get splayed legs if the surface is too hard, or there's a few reasons why they can get splayed legs. But if you provide 2 inches of bedding before they even get started, you're off to a good start. And I haven't had any problems except for with Froggy, who we had to make some adjustments with. So that's my recommendation for that. Anna Mora, welcome and happy Tuesday. Thank you for coming in. How are you doing today, Anna? Perlia, there are so many things to know about birds. So if you have any more questions, please ask. Because one of the reasons that I do this is so that people can ask me questions and I can help them out. So don't hesitate or feel awkward about asking questions. We're having kind of a slow rolling morning today. It's kind of quiet around here. I know Toki and Frog want to come out, but like I was telling Perlia, if I take Froggy out, Toki has to come out at this point. And I don't think I could do a live stream and handle both of them. But perhaps at the end of the live stream, when we're about ready to wrap up, I'll bring them out and y'all can say hello to them. Thank you. I let my husband pick out the colors, and apparently my son helped him today with these colors, and they always do really good colors. So I like this combination, and now it's just a matter of getting it done. It's going to be this stitch all the way through because I like the regularity look of it. See, my word slipped my head. Store, welcome. How are you doing? I'm glad you're here. If my birds liked sweaters, I absolutely would make them sweaters. I think it would freak them out, though. I made Toki a little hat and scarf one time, and you can see it in one of my videos, but he ended up using them more as cushions for his feet for the snow than putting them on. We might have JoJo come join us too. I don't know. I told her we were doing a live stream today, and I says, if you want, you can come join us. And her response was, I'm too tired to move. So we'll see if she makes it up. You know, store, I do both. I make food for my birds. I give them fresh fruits and vegetables, and I make them uh, an oatmeal mix that I put all kinds of fruits and nuts and vegetables in, and a lot of it's just whatever I have at the time or the seasonal, but it's all dried, so I can be pretty flexible with that. And then I give them pellets just in case because I want to make sure that they're not being deficient in anything. So yeah, I do a little bit of everything for them. And then don't tell people, but Frog and Toki both share a lot with what I'm eating, mostly because they think they're part of the flock. So if I happen to have them out while I'm snacking on something or even eating dinner, they will full on jump on my dinner plate and eat it. And so I have to be careful because there's a lot of things people can eat that uh, birds don't do so well with. So last night we had chili and it's got all kinds of things in it that aren't really great for birds. So I had to just put a pile of crackers crumbled on top of my food. And I like that, so it works well. But Toki just got right in there and went to town on those crackers. So is everybody staying healthy and keeping themselves tip top condition for this corona stuff? I hope you all are because I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but I'd hate for it to take any of us out. What are y'all up to today? What kind of fun things are you doing today? It's springtime here. When I'm done here, I think I have to go out, get my tiller ready so I can till my garden. It's that time of year. No, I'm not almost done. I'm about halfway. This this thinner line through here, that's halfway, right in the middle there. So I've got pretty much all the rest of that to do again. So it's going to take a little bit, but I'm kind of fast at it, so I'm not too worried about it. I just kind of pick at it when I feel like it, work on it when, for live streams and stuff like that. When I finish this, I'll find a new project to work on. So I like doing this stitch though because I don't have to think too hard. I can just do it and not like count or try and have to figure out a pattern or anything like that. I wonder about that too, store. I do not know. I think, yeah, I don't know. Because sometimes I wonder if they can taste anything at all. And then other times I think, oh my gosh, they really like that, so they must be able to taste something. So I don't know. What do you think? Thank you, Anna. I agree with you. And it just is so uniform. But it just, you finish it and it doesn't matter how good or bad you did your stitches, it just looks sharp, you know? So that's why I like this stitch. Anna, what kinds of things are you busy creating right now? What are you working on? Good morning, Rose. How are you? Do you know we've had a few earthquakes around here? For those of you who don't know Rose Biss, you can watch her live streams and she will tell you about all the earthquakes that are going on in the world. And she does a really good job of staying on top of it. Like, I don't even know how she can be so consistent, but she is. She is my earthquake news anchor. I know, right? I don't know. I haven't even Googled it, so. But the thought has crossed my mind. I wonder what they can taste. I love beads. And you know, the thing is, I have a drawer that is full of, you know, when you're out walking and you see things that shine and you just have to see what they are. I have a drawer full of little objects that I found on walks. And it's the stupidest thing, but that's the hoarder in me, I guess, that I cannot. I get them and I'm like, oh, this you could use for this, or you could use this for that. And I keep them, and I'm never actually going to turn them into jewelry or anything. And I'm probably never ever going to use them, but I have them and I look through them and I'm like going, I remember finding this on this walk, or I remember finding it on that walk. And for some reason, I just have a hard time throwing it away or getting rid of it, you know? Store, if I had another pet, what would it be? Boy, I don't know. I really like birds. A different kind of bird, would that count? I don't know. I do have fish, and Papa B and I have had turtles. We have one that roams around our yard. It's a Russian, and it um, digs down in the springtime, and so it's kind of hard to find. It digs about 4 feet down to get below the frost level, and then in the spring it comes back up. Well, last year um, we didn't see it, but that doesn't mean anything. It means that we just didn't see it because we've got a pretty big backyard, and it likes to hide under the strawberry plants and other plants in the garden. So yeah, I don't know if we still have a turtle or not. But you know, if we do, we'll show you. We'll make a video of it if we see it this year, and we'll show it to you. How to garden. Welcome to our live stream. How are you doing? Oh my gosh, I'm missing all kinds of comments. Rose, I didn't know that you had a cockatiel. That's awesome. And you must have been a very good bird mom if your bird ate fresh fruits and vegetables. Birds can be really picky on that stuff. So, how to garden? I have to ask, how does your garden grow? What are you coming into spring? And is it that time of year where you're planting seeds and tilling gardens, stuff like that? Rose, I don't know if you're talking to Anna about being an awesome friend or to me, but if you're talking to me, thank you. I consider you an awesome friend as well. In fact, all of you guys are pretty awesome. When I first came to YouTube, I met a lot of people who were, I think the word would be aloof, not really personal, not really friendly, just kind of business as usual. And I'll tell you what, recently, since about around Thanksgiving, I have met so many amazing people. And all of a sudden, YouTube makes sense for me. The compassion and kindness, and it's just been amazing. Okay, that makes sense. Harvest time in Florida. We've just come out of a pretty strange winter, actually. There hasn't been a ton of snow, but there's been plenty. And I don't know, it's been strangely warm, strangely wet, and strangely cold. But winters around here are kind of like that. So, awesome, Rose. Do you know when I was growing up, I lived on a farm and we had geese and they scared the crap out of me because they would chase you all over the place, come out to bring them food, and they'd come up and bite you. And so geese always made me a little bit nervous. We had chickens and cows and horses and lambs and goats, all that stuff. Not all at once, but kind of around pigs, all of it. And geese always scared me. Aw. Okay, store. Um, Frog's parents are Mango and Raz, and they have been absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful parents. So when the situation with Frog happened, um, I got thinking about it, and in my video, it tells you that Mango chewed his wings, but I don't know for sure that it was Mango, come to think of it, because Raz has a tendency to chew things when he's nervous as well. So I don't really know um, which one or if both of them did it, but because I didn't actually see them, I took them out before I could observe who was doing what. Um, but as for my birds, can they talk? My lovebirds do not talk, but I know that lovebirds can talk because I have seen some of the babies that I've found homes for, their new families have taught them to talk. And they don't say a lot of words because they're not known for a lot of talking, but they can say quite a few words. Okay, so how to garden. Florida's summertime is your kind of like our winter where everything just slows down or dies off completely and then you start again. Is that correct? Be safe, Rose, and I hope to see you in a few minutes then. Aw, Rose, thank you so much. You're a sweetheart. And honestly, you guys, you want to keep up on the earthquakes and what's going on. She tells you all of that stuff. And it's like spot on information, everything you need to know or want to know about earthquakes and any of the side effects that go with it. She's awesome. Anthony, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so sorry about yesterday. So, for those of you who don't know, yesterday YouTube cut off my live stream 3 times, and I just stopped for a bit because they said it was copyright. And guess what I was doing? This, like this exact thing. So I don't know what went through their heads, but I think it's their little fairy bots that are busy trying to maintain things while YouTube is, trying to deal with Corona or something. I don't know. Thank you, Anthony. And how to garden. Thank you for that information because I've wondered about that. I know that there's a season change. I just don't always understand how it lays out. Well, thank you, Anthony. I don't mind that it happens so much as I feel bad because I have people that I'm talking to and then all of a sudden I just cut out. And it didn't seem like there was any way to go back and say, sorry, I'm not just like hanging up on you guys. So, Bernetti, good morning. Store, this is a blanket. Yeah, it's just going to be a long square or rectangular, depending on how it will finish up. But Vernetti, I'm so glad you made it today. See, now I complained about YouTube for my live streams yesterday, but Vernetti had his whole channel shut down. Was it 1 week or 2 weeks, Vernetti? And all he does is draw and review comics. So doesn't seem like there's any reason why his would be shut down either. I know, right? Jojo says, well, maybe it was your stitch that you used. I'm like, well, I'm making my own stitches. I mean, yeah, the stitch exists, but I don't think there's any copyright on it. So, and they didn't shut down my tutorial on it, so I don't know. So I have to put a plug out there for My Loan Money Mindset. You guys, if you want to learn stuff about money and how it all works, My Loan Money, Anthony, his channel is the best. It's easy to understand, and believe me, I need easy to understand when it comes to numbers. And he does a fantastic job. So if you're interested in stocks or money in general, you can learn a lot from his channel. So go check it out if you haven't. Anthony, you're awesome. So if you ever wonder about that, don't, because you speak at a level that I can understand, and that is saying a lot. And I'm not dumb. I'm smart, at least for most things. But numbers just have a tendency to just boggle my mind. And you're pretty great. And Store, did you tell me that you weren't doing videos anymore? The videos you've got are really cool, so I hope you start doing more. So, Anthony, is it just crazy in New York right now? Like, I hear stories, but I think you would like have a better firsthand experience on it. Well, Store, I hope you do more videos of drawing. I really do. Don't stop drawing, okay? Because you never get better if you quit doing it. Also, if you guys want to see another really great artist, and it's different styles than anybody here, is the Basil Bulletin. I love that artist. And she has a few of my bird interactions. Well, at least one. But her characters are so cute. And they're really pretty awesome, I think so. So this isn't really a grow stream, but I do like to shout out to my friends. And so I think this is the best way to do it because I wouldn't want to pick someone and leave others out. But there's some really great channels out there and really excellent people that are running those channels. And I think the thing about YouTube is if you can get personal and really get to know them, you're in a good place. How to Garden does excellent videos about gardening. And I'm telling you, I've learned a few things from them as well. So, Amber, welcome. I'm working on a blanket and I'm mostly just kind of trying to finish it up because, winter's about over and it's time to start doing more spring projects, but I don't want this sitting around my house all day, every day, all through the summer either. So, well, thank you, How to Garden. I'm glad you did. I love the live streams because it's a chance to get to know people a little bit better. And I know it's kind of one way where you guys have to text, but well, some of my bird live streams, I do those just with text because I want people to be able to watch them later. And if I get the audio all figured out eventually, just enjoy watching them and not have to worry about any talking or anything like that. But I love live streams because I love to get to know you all better. Agricultural activities, I love it. Um, I love anything that has to do with life, creating new life. You plant a seed, you watch it grow. That fascinates me. The birds have an egg and you watch it grow into from this funky little pink fluffy blob to an actual bird, and it's just amazing to me every single time. Well, I hope you have all been following the story of Frog and watching him because we're going to do more live streams with Frog. And I hope you're watching Toki and fall in love with him because he is a character. And we're going to be doing more live streams with him and my lovebirds. And then my crochet live streams, I will be just sitting and chatting with you guys, getting to know you better, and hopefully having a really great time just, you know, talking. And oh, Frog will do that, Amber. Frog will make anyone want a bird. Although right now he's about 12 weeks old and he is a little imp. He thinks that he has to be in charge of everybody and everything. Toki keeps him humble, but they're getting along really well. As you can see in that video, they still nip at each other. But yeah, Frog is a character. And one of these days, I'm going to make a video when it gets a little bit warmer of a walk or a few walks that we'll go on. We'll take you guys along and just show you Frog. It'll be fun. Seattle, welcome. How you doing, girl? Quarantine, that is a thing, right? Well, I highly recommend to anyone that they learn a new hobby, whether it be crochet, which is the best hobby, honestly, if I can tell you my honest opinion, um, or art or jewelry making. Anna Mora can show you how to make jewelry. If you're looking for information on jewelry, go check out some of Anna Mora's stuff. She will inspire you. Um, shoot, what else? Thank you, Vernetti. I am so glad they're getting along too. It was a lot of work. It took quite a few weeks to get them to understand and talking. Oh my gosh, can I just tell you a story? Okay, so Frog or Toki is very, very sensitive to words. So if he's upset with you, you actually verbally have to apologize to him and tell him you're sorry for not doing what he thought you should do. And you got to figure out what it is. So he's a fun one, but you know that you figured it out because when you say, Toki, are you upset with me for not coming in earlier? which I'm going to have to do today. And then you say, I'm sorry that I couldn't come in earlier. Once you apologize, he stops getting all upset and quit, and he doesn't try to bite you. Up until then, he will try to bite you to tell you that you did wrong. So it's a fun time with Toki. You know, Verdandy, I think you're right. Art hobbies are excellent, an excellent way, because it makes you feel productive, doesn't it? It does me. Makes me feel creative. It keeps my mind alive and functioning, and it makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. And then, you know, the bragging rights afterwards, assuming that you do a good job, which I think most people don't really give themselves enough credit, because when you're in it, you're so much your own critic that you're not really fair to yourself most of the time. But um, yeah, I think that art artistic hobbies are the best. Store, I hope you find what you need, because you got to keep going with your channel, with your videos. So Anthony, Toki loves you too. I just know he does. Thank you, had the garden. I think you're right. Birds are absolutely interesting. When I first got birds, I didn't know that you could interact with them the way that you can. And the things I've learned since then, just mind blowing. They are so much fun. They're like having another little child at your house. You have to keep them out of trouble all the time, and they're so curious. They always get into trouble. You know, Bernetti, you're right. Art can be therapeutic. In fact, I find quite a lot of similarities between birds and art, because birds are therapeutic for me. They're also they also keep your mind just incredibly busy. They do, especially like I find that birds are really great for winter depression. You know, those gloomy days when you just don't even feel like anything is good. And I love just going into my bird room and just sit and listening to the birds, and then the flash of their variety of colors. Oh, it just fixes all of that. And some days, if you go in there, even if it's cold outside, but the sun is shining, it feels like you're in a summer day again. You can trick your mind, you know, so it's really good. Oh, pigeons, those are awesome. See, I didn't know much about pigeons. I always thought they were just the birds you saw on the streets in town. But I have a friend who has pigeons, the Pigeon Lady, that's her channel, and she does a fantastic job of teaching you about pigeons. Doves are another one. You know, you just think not too much of them, but well, I mean, they're the bird of peace, right? But whatever. They are also excellent pets. And then the crow, that one is fascinating to me as well. I always thought that they were just those stupid birds that eat the cherries out of my trees. But you know what? It turns out that crows are one of the most intelligent animals, and they they can speak as well as a human. Probably better than humans, some of us, right? Oh, and chickens. I love chickens. They're good therapy birds too, because if you ever want to build your self-esteem, you walk out in the backyard with a bunch of chickens out there and throw them some seed or something to eat, they will come running to you like you are the greatest thing in the whole world. They will make you feel like you're the most valuable thing in existence. Bernetti, I saw that. Well, I don't know if it was the same story, but oh my gosh, I totally want to try that. We have crows around here, but I haven't gotten like they're kind of just outside of my yard, my zone, and I haven't gotten into that regularity where I could just but I totally want to try that because I'm just intrigued at what they would bring back. Okay, so I'm interested of those who are watching, what are your favorite what is your ideal pet? What would whether you have one or not, what would you like to have as a pet? What do you think would be the best? Okay, I have another question for you too. What do you think it would be the most unique hobby if you could learn something new? The weirdest, most unique thing. Vernetti, that is so true. Having a bird, choosing a bird is so hard because you can't just say, oh, this is the ideal bird and fall in love with it because every single one of them have unique and amazing personalities and they're all different. So if you go get a conure, that's going to be different than the other conure that you didn't get. The personalities are so, so different. And then there's from breed to breed, right? So mind blown. It's hard to choose. Thank you, Vernetti. And this is actually crocheting. Knitting uses the 2 needles. You probably already know this, but it's been called knitting a couple of times today, so I thought I'd just clarify. Crocheting has the hook, and knitting uses the 2 needles. I have tried knitting. I can knit. I don't love it because my biggest weakness in arts of the yarn is losing these darn needles, these hooks. So when you have a whole bunch of loops, whew, guarantee I'm going to lose them. With the crochet hook, it's one loop, and sometimes it might pull out. Oops, whatever. Not a big deal. But when you lose a bunch of loops off of a needle, devastating. Well, how to garden. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and chilling. And I hope your garden grows well this year. We'll see you around. Thank you so much for being here, though. So I'm actually thinking about trying uh, knitting again, but I don't know. Like I said, a lot of loops, but it is very nifty craft, and I wouldn't mind, you know, one day learning to do it and maybe figuring out how to keep all those loops on my needles. I'm sure there's a way. People do it all the time, right? Crocheting is very relaxing for me too. In fact, I know I need to get sleep when I'm too tired to crochet, but that does happen sometimes. Most of the time, I just mindlessly loop through, which is one of the reasons I'm enjoying this blanket because I don't have to think about it. I think I have heard of that video, but I am not entirely sure. It sounds familiar. Interesting. Is it an older video? Huh, I'll have to look for it, see if I can watch it. I like old movies. I like new movies. I like new movies that have an old theme to them. So, sounds like something that I would enjoy. You know, I grew up with parents that lived through the Depression, and I find it absolutely fulfilling to be able to make things from scratch and to be able to know how, just the know how to do things like that. To be able to take things from their original form and create, which kind of goes back to the hobbies, you know? What do you think are the most unique hobbies? I had one friend who was interested in how they shrunk heads. I'm not kidding. Like a bizarre topic, but just wanted to know how they even came up with the idea. Another one that wanted to taxidermy animals. That's a cool hobby. Another one that I don't know. I think it's good for us to know how to do things, you know? And it can be really bizarre or it can be traditional, you know, how to make bread. Yes, like my food related videos. You know, when Papa B and I first got married, I said, "Well, I need some things from the store." So he looked at the list and he says, "That's not food." And I looked at it and I'm like, "No, you make food with that. You know, flour, sugar, yeast, that kind of stuff." It was kind of funny, but we've had a good relationship ever since. Food has some really deep bedded traditions in society. If you've never done studies on how food affects us, you should. That's an interesting topic. I forget to remind people, but I know that we need reminders. If you're enjoying this live stream, like it, share it out, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It helps me out when you do, and I really, really appreciate it. And if you're enjoying this live stream, then, check out some of my other videos. I know most of you already have. I'd appreciate that too. Okay, Vernetti, I'm just going to tell you straight up, that banana bread is delicious. It is as good as it looks. So normally in that recipe, I just used regular all-purpose flour, but that's a good one if you want to make it a little more healthy to use whole wheat flour. That's a great one for it. 'Cause sometimes whole wheat flour can add a flavor that you just don't, if you're not used to it, but you still want to go healthy. That's a great one because you cannot even tell that it's whole wheat flour. You don't taste that extra flavor to it because the bananas just sort of take over, and so good. So if you don't like my opinion on it, you can take JoJo's opinion on it in her video. Bernetti, you come on over. I'll make you some banana bread, buddy. Or, like I tell my kids, you can make it yourself. The recipe's in the video. It's pretty easy to make. But I highly recommend that you use the applesauce because it's a nice applesauce is really great for making breads and cookies. Not cookies, sorry. Breads and cakes to be super duper moist and just delicious. They'll make the store bought cakes seem like an old sponge. So Vernetti, do you stay home to work these days, or do you go to an office or something? I know your work situation's been a little bit different, but well, I mean, home's where we're supposed to be, right? Not out and about. So I guess that works out. Good timing. I hope you figure things out soon, though, because that's not a great place to be unemployed, right? Well, maybe you can learn new stuff and open up your career options. It's good to fix things. I wish I had a snail around here that could fix things. Actually, my youngest son is fabulous at fixing things. He's fixed my snowblower and my lawnmower, and I'm about to put him on my tiller. Getting that thing working, make sure it's all tuned up and ready to go. Handyman skills are a fabulous thing, which is another great idea if you want to learn something while you're in quarantine. Learn how to do something like that because seriously, you can learn anything from YouTube, anything from the internet. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, you come here, you do a little bit of fixing it up around town and around here, and I will make you banana bread. You know what? I'll even throw in some lemonade. Sound like a good deal? Plus, it makes you feel so good, doesn't it? When you fix something and get and it's all functioning again, doesn't it make you feel like $1,000,000? Which goes back to the whole making things from scratch and learn how to do things yourself. It's such a good character builder. It gives you self-esteem and quality of life, honestly. Yeah, it does. It does give you a sense of accomplishment. In fact, I think a lot of the problems that we're dealing with in the world today is that people don't have that sense of accomplishment because everything's too easy to just buy somebody else to do it or throw it away and start buy a new one. There are some real values that we're losing, I think, that go back to your roots, learn how to do some of those things. And I think it would have a big impact on our overall mental and emotional health. Well, and physical health for that matter too. I absolutely 100% agree with you, Vernetti. We are artists and we are meant to create. I think it's an innate sense that we cannot even ignore. And if we do ignore it, I think it slowly kills us. Thank you, Store. Please do like my videos. I appreciate it. Oh, you know what? That's very true, Bernetti. That's something I hadn't really thought about, but you're absolutely right. They are artists and engineers, right? I think it is absolutely required for life to create life. Like a lot of times in the bird world, people tell you that it's not healthy for birds to breed, and I think they're wrong. Now, too much breeding, overbreeding, absolutely. I mean, you can kill a bird doing that, right? But I notice the difference between Toki and my lovebirds that have bred, and they're just generally more calm and more happy. So I think that they have to create. And if breeding is their creation, they got to do a little bit of it, you know? Store, that's really cool. A puffer fish draw in the sand. I would love to see that. Oh wow, Bernetti, that's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna look that up, Stork, because I want to see that. Well, I watch my bees, the mason bees, and the way they create their nests by using mud, and then the leaf cutter bees that went and packed it in with leaves. It's amazing the skills and abilities, and each animal and each insect has their own. Yeah, their nests. So, have you seen an oriole's nest? It's like a sack that hangs from the trees, and it just swings in the wind. But it is really cool, and I can't even imagine how they make it. And like lovebirds, their skill is shredding, and they will take any paper, any bark, and they make these fine um, strips, a little wider than this yarn. They make these fine strips of all of it, and they go and they build their nest. And I'll tell you what, when I had to separate Froggy from his parents, I tried really hard to pack the nest in, and it didn't work. The only way I could get it so he didn't get splayed legs was to put in tissue paper to give him some support. And yeah, they're amazing, and they just know it instinctively. It's like, okay, so as an artist, tell me if I'm wrong, but when I start a project, I see it in my head first, and I think that would look cool, and then I make it. And I think with birds and animals, they do the same thing. They just see it before they do it, and then they just know instinctively how to go about it. Yeah, beavers, they're another one. I think I saw like some kind of documentary on beavers one time, and their beaver dams are just intricately built with, I mean, amazing. Well, I think that we visualize whatever kinds of things that we ourselves are best skilled at, you know? So, like, Bernetta, you draw and you probably visualize before you start your project how it's going to look. And with me, I see yarn and I see, in fact, I can't go to a yarn store and buy yarn. And here's why, because I get overwhelmed with ideas and my mind just shuts down, goes blank completely. It's like overload and then boom, and I can't think of any of it. So I have to send Papa B to the yarn store, and he picks out things that he thinks look good together. And then when he brings them home to me, then I look at them and I go, oh, this would look good like this, or this would look good like that. And then I create that thing. But I can't. If I'm around too much yarn, yeah, my brain just shuts down completely, and I can't figure out what I need, you know? Yep, I think that's how it works. One thing Papa B told me, he says, you know what I've learned is that if you can see it, you can do it. So I just need to know that you can see it. And so I'll tell him I'm going to do something, and he'll be like, well, can you see it? And I'll be like, yeah. And he goes, okay, have at it. And I get full support because I can see it. And he knows if I can see it, I can do it. But on the other hand, if I can't see it, I might as well be a brick wall. I can't do a darn thing with it. Birds are very smart, Store. Very, very smart. Bernetti, I know you can understand that. Oh, you know what? You're right. I started looking at plastic repurposed art, like, you know, your plastic bottles and stuff like that. And so I started collecting them. And the other day I just had to throw them all away because I couldn't, you know, I was like, I was collecting them faster than I could even start. And I have to start. I've never done it before. So one of these days I'm going to do a video about plastic bottle art and just learning how to do it, just starting it. So especially in the summertime, I don't crochet quite as much because there's not a lot of time and I have to, you know, do yard work and stuff like that. So I think during the summer, my Saturday videos might change out to some of the other artistic, uh, creative out uh, sources that I have, you know. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's another one. I hoard the plastic bags just a little bit because I think I'm going to get to them. And then Papa B says, sorry, they got to go. So, yeah, because, so I keep my favorite ones hidden in my closet. Don't tell Papa B. And then the rest of them, I donate them to thrift shops so that they have bags because they love those as well. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited about the plastic bottle ideas, and there's so many different things. And the thing about trying something when you don't know anything about it is that's when you come up with new ideas, right? So, of course, if you come up with new ideas and you don't actually try it, then those ideas get wasted on you because then you forget them again as fast as you came up with them, right? So, Vernetti, have you tried to crochet yet? I know you've talked about it. Because live streams are a great time for you to to ask any questions for any of the parts that are stumping you. Another thing is I hate following patterns and recipes and instructions, right? So when I'm creating something, I generally look at it and get inspiration from the visual rather than the direct instructions. Regulations actually kind of hinder me a little bit and stop me from doing the thing, accomplishing the thing that I imagined. Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so Vernity, I was asking if you'd ever started crocheting, because if you start and you get stumped, which most things give you something that'll slow you down, live streams are really great for asking questions and getting more clear instructions, right? And that goes for anyone. If you're interested in learning a hobby like crocheting, now's the time to ask questions, because it's a lot easier. Well, for me, because I'm a visual learner, it's a lot easier for me to see someone do something and show me in detail rather than to try and read what their instructions are. Kelly, hello and welcome, my girl. How are you? I hope you're feeling better. Are allergies still kicking your butt? Oh, I'm so glad you're feeling better. Sometimes those things come and go really fast. Sometimes they linger a longer time, huh? Ah, that is a challenge, Bernetti. I will warn you now, if you crochet and you enjoy it, you may have to wrestle with the decision of whether you pick up a hook or a pencil, because we're only given two hands, unfortunately. And so, and our minds don't really multitask as well as people say they do. So that's a dilemma. My son and I were talking the other day, and I was telling him about reading a book, and he goes, "When do you even have time to read?" Valid point. I don't. No, I'm so glad you're here, Kelly. This is a blanket that I've been working on. I'm trying to get it finished because the weather's starting to call me outside, but it's just rib stitch, and it's super duper warm. So these are yarns that I got for Christmas, and I'm just doing this rib stitch. It's long and slow, but it's mindless, so I can uh, do this without having to undo too many stitches and still do a live stream. So yay. There's not enough time. I mean, I don't know how old you are, Bernetti, but I'm pretty sure I'm older than you. And I can just tell you from my massive years life experiences that Nope, there's not enough time. You can't do it all. And then on top of that, we're creatures of habit, right? So we go to the easiest thing when we need something to do. So it's back to our old routines, right? So make sure if you're young to set your routines as something productive. And that way, when you go back to your old routines, when you're older, you will be productive still. Vast wisdom by Mama B right there for you. So, Kelly, what are you working on these days? I'll give you guys a sneak peek. I just learned how to make a friendship bracelet. Now, I've made friendship bracelets before, where you take the embroidery thread and tie it all into little knots and end up with a really cool design. But there's one that I saw recently that I absolutely fell in love with, and so I figured out how to do it. And I have a how-to tutorial coming up soon of this wonderful little creation. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Anyway, yeah, love these. They've got this little ribbing zigzag across the top. So much fun. So be looking for that video tutorial coming out. And fun stuff. Yeah, sometimes you just kind of get into a little bit of a funk, don't you? I've been finding that too. It's like spring comes and I can't quite. I'm either overwhelmed with inspiration, or it's like, well, what do I want to do next? I don't know. So I've been kind of in that as well. But I think if I finish this blanket, it will open up inspiration for me. So that's another reason why I'm working on this, trying to get it done. Baby blankets are a lot of fun, though. Kelly, how long have you been crocheting for? And do you knit as well or just crochet? I should probably already know the answer to that one. But live streams, they make your brain go empty. Good for you. Really? Only a year ago? No way. Mother Cow, welcome. Are we new to each other? I don't recognize. I'm pretty sure I remember your name. I'll be checking out your channel when I'm done here because I love your name. I love it. Thank you very much. These are colors I was telling them earlier. These are colors that my husband had to pick out because I can't go into a yarn store and pick out colors. I just can't do it. I get too overwhelmed and I can't end up with partial collections. And yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, Papa B's pretty good about picking out yarn colors and making them go together. He stays in the kind of more the winter colors, the winter shades, but every once in a while he'll go funky bright, and that's fun too. So I just like when he brings me home yarn and I can look at it and say, ooh, that would make a good ... fill in the blank, because then I know exactly what to do with it and I get excited about it. So this one just seemed like it needed to be a warm, cozy blanket. Kelly, I'm still reeling over the idea that you've only been crocheting for a year. That has blown my mind. Mother cow, how long have you been crocheting for? And do you only crochet or do you do other things? Yeah, you can learn anything from YouTube. I'm a firm believer of that. And you've gotten into a really good crochet community, so that's awesome. I'm proud of you. Holy cow. That's awesome. Holy cow, not to get mixed up with mother cow. Actually, mother cow, I was just checking out your channel and I think that we have talked before. Um, but it's been a while, so I'm glad you're in this live stream today. That's another reason why live streams are so great, because you can, out of sight, out of mind. But in live streams, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that channel. And then you're like, go back to it, You knit too, and you're almost blind. Boy, my eyes are getting worse, and I'm scared for the day that I can't see. But I also can see better than pretty much anyone else in my family, so I can't complain too much about it. That and arthritis. That's a genetic thing. Yeehaw. Do you guys know Vernetti? Vernetti's a very talented artist. If you don't know him, go check him out, because just got to say, he's pretty awesome. So, Mother Cow, what are you working on these days? Don't give up, Kelly. And they say that if you stop and just kind of like stretch those wrists and stuff, that helps with carpal tunnel. I don't know for sure. I haven't had a problem with tunnel, thank goodness. I have a friend who did though, and she ended up learning to like she started out crocheting right-handed and she ended up learning to crochet left-handed to combat that. And so now she's ambidextrous and can crochet with both hands. How cool is that? So you make sweaters. I don't follow patterns, and so I really wrestle with those projects that require two matching things like sleeves and socks, that kind of stuff. But every once in a while, I'll take one on. One of these days, I so badly want to crochet a pair of lounge pants for Papa B. I don't even know if he'll wear them, but I want to do it so bad. But he's kind of picky, so if I make one leg too short or, don't make a match, it'll be rejection from the start. So, and rightly so, right? I mean, who wants to wear black? Ambidextrous is pretty cool. Another thing, we've been talking kind of about unique hobbies, and I have a sister who started writing backwards. Like she normally writes right-handed, but she started writing left-handed and backwards so that people couldn't read what she wrote in her diary. So then in order to read it, you'd have to use a mirror. It was kind of cool. Little unique hobbies, interesting things to think about, right? So, Vernetti, what do you do to help with your wrist? Kelly, I have a bucket list too, by the way. Things I want to accomplish as far as crocheting goes. It's a good thing to do. Yeah, and she was fast at it too. Like she could probably write faster backwards than she could forwards. But she wrote really well forward too, so it didn't even hinder her there. On the same note, I got really good at reading her writing backwards too, without a mirror. So, I mean, not to say I was the obnoxious little sister, but I was. There you go. See, it's helpful to learn things from other people who know things. That is my favorite way to learn. And it's already been tested, it's already been tried, and If you can remember who knows it, you don't even have to remember the solution. Or you can remember the solution, either way. It's good to learn from people who already know things. Yeah, I've heard a lot about warm-ups before exercise, and I didn't really think of crocheting as exercise, but it really is. I'm terrible at doing warm-ups, though. I'm always get right to it, kind of person. But that is good advice. Aren't we usually worst at what we know works the best? I say that, but it's like we're kind of stubborn as humans, and we have to be pushed to the point of pain before we're like, oh, you know what? I think I'll do that. Or how many times you're like, I know I should, but I don't. Are you kidding me, Vernetti? How is that even possible? Because isn't putting a pencil to paper eye to hand coordination? Like, that's the epitome of eye to hand coordination. Am I wrong? Somebody educate me. Yeah, I'm baffled by that. But you're not just good at it, you're like really good at it and you're fast. So whatever it was that you did in high school, was it? Yeah, you've overcome that problem. This stuff gets so twisted. There we go. Almost. Kelly, you should see some of Vernetti's work because he is really good. And is that watercolor you use too, Vernetti? I think that it is. You make that stuff look amazing. You're absolutely welcome. I'm just telling the truth. All right. I think I've got about 10 minutes left on this live stream, and I think I made some promises. Mother cow, you're in Sweden? That's so cool. Well, thank you. I'm gonna go get Frog and Toki for you guys. I think I'm starting to. Don't leave yet. I've still got about 10 minutes. We'll probably end this about 1 o'clock, but well, 1 o'clock my time. I'm gonna go get Frog and Toki for you guys. Say hello, and I'll be right back. Here we have them. Thank you. I'm glad you like watching birds. I love watching birds. Okay, so Toki's mad at me because I didn't go in earlier, so he has to bite me and tell me so. And Frog is this little imp who just wants to cuddle with me, and so he just climbs right up to my face. And he's so fast, you guys. Frog is so fast. Say hello, Frog. Hello. Frog is just the sweetest little guy, though, you guys. Come here, Toki. And Toki is so sweet as well. See, he's being soft now, but he had to get that little nip in. He just had to. Oh, be nice. Be nice. Yeah? Did I say sorry to you for taking so long? I had to, huh? Okay, Vernetti. That kiss, Toki, is from Vernetti. Frog, that kiss is from Vernetti. Thank you. Did you hear, Vernetti? Toki gave you a kiss back. So if you guys don't know Frog's story, you should go check it out because it's a sweet but tragic story. And he is one of my best buddies now. And Toki's been with us since he was 6 weeks old, and he is the boss of the family. He tells everybody what to do. You know, Kelly, I don't blame your mom for wanting one. I did not know how awesome birds were until, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. They are amazing. Toki is such a boss. And he's gotten so big since then, Bernetti. He's just grown so much. Hey, 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 be nice. Be nice. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. But he tells everybody what to do. He will yell at my kids when they don't get up. He'll stand there and wait for them to by the banister, and he will wait for them to get up. Nice one, Toki. He'll wait for them to get up. That's the downside of birds. They poop for sure. He'll wait for the kids to get up and he'll call to them. And when they get up, he'll fly to them with excitement and promptly bite them to tell them that they were out of line for staying in bed so late. Yes, Kelly, Frog was the one that had his, if you look at his wings, let's see if I can show you. This wing, he's very sensitive to it, so I try not to touch it, but this wing has no flight feathers and this wing has less than full, and I don't trim them at all. This one has no flight feathers. Like that first segment of his wing was completely amputated. Oh yeah, that's my favorite. When they close their eyes, you just feel them just totally embracing the moment. I tried to take Frog to the store the other day, and I've got to do some documentaries, but he does not, he's so certain that he has to be looking at all those things on the shelf. So I can't take him to the store till he gets past that phase. And he tries to fly, so he'll just jump off and do a cannonball to the floor. I don't think I'll ever train him out of that, but no, he's pretty. He's gotten to that next phase. He's a teenager and he'll do what he wants. Where are you going? They can't see you if you come up here. Come here, Toki. Now, Frog and Toki, they've accepted each other. They don't really love each other so much, but they've accepted that they're in each other's space. And so you saw that Toki just jumped or pecked at Frog, and Frog moved out of the way. Toki is definitely the top on the pecking order, but they've accepted each other. And so while I can't leave them completely alone, they're always be at risk of uh, doing real damage to each other. But they have accepted that each other can be in each other's space. So I know, right, Kelly? Be nice, Toki. Do you know, Vernetti, there's someone around here that has a cockatoo and another person that has a macaw. Because the times that I don't go with Papa B to the grocery store, and maybe one of my kids do, they always come back and tell me about it, and I always miss them. I'm so bummed, but it's probably best because I would be that obnoxious lady who goes, "Oh my gosh, can I pet your bird?" And especially during this time, it's, risky business, right? Oh, be nice. Be nice. Um, with coronavirus and all that, right? Yarny Zebra, hello. Thanks for joining us today. I told you guys I'd get off at 1. I'm not in a big hurry though, but Yarny Zebra, is your name Dora Beth? I love it. I don't keep track of names very well, so I probably just call you Yarny Zebra, but also really like your channel name, so that's awesome. I'm good at remembering names. If I interact with you daily, then I can remember names really well. Well, I don't know. Old age, right? It like comes in and kind of kills that buzz. But I used to be really good at remembering names, and now I just am really good at getting everything mixed up. So what is your rare disease? Yarny zebra, what is your rare disease? What is it, and what does it do to you? And Kelly, you're so young for you to be going brain dead, but I totally get it because oh, okay, that's a challenge. So can you have pets and stuff like that? So Corona's like super freaky to you right now, yes or no? Okay, so lucky is your lucky pants. That's awesome. You should make sure to let Lucky out. And I'll tell you what, this world, I wonder sometimes how we even survive, right? But we are survivors, and we can. There's always a way. Frog is such a cuddler. Well, he's either a cuddler or an explorer, not, one or the other. But most of the time, he's a cuddler. But he does love going out for walks. He loves that. So we haven't gone on many walks, though, because it's been very, very miserable. But it looks like the weather's starting to get better, and so we'll probably do some walk videos for you. Yarny Zebra, thank you for being here. I'm not sure how long we're going to be going for, so I hope we don't miss you, but a walk seems like it might take a little bit longer than maybe what we'll be here for. While I'm having a ball, I have responsibilities, like whatever, but I do. So I hope to catch you again. If not at this live stream, another one. So glad you're here today. Enjoy your walk. Do you know, Vernetti? I'm going to just tell you when getting a bird, I've had birds, I've had rescue birds, I've had birds that we found in our backyard. I have had birds that we purchased from people who have mostly tamed them. And then I have had frog and toki. And I'm just going to tell you, if you want a really good bird experience, I don't care what else you hear, you want a really good bird experience, get one that is still hand feeding if you dare hand feed it. But if not, if that scares you, which is a very scary thing, um, get one that is just finished, brand new young, and make sure that it has been hand tamed and trusts people, because I mean the difference, you can't make up that difference in a lifetime. You can't make that up. These little ones that have trusted you their whole life, they are really truly buddies, and they have such a good life. If you're really good to them, they have such a good life because they've never really worried or had any kind of fear of humans. That's such a good thing. Now, once you get to know birds better, and if you feel like rescuing a bird is for you, you can actually really help birds out because there's a lot of them that need to be rescued, right? But when they talk about adopting birds and rescue birds, a lot of times there's a little bit of weird going on there. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but a lot of times it's, I don't want to step on any toes because there are a lot of people out there that are really just doing great work with birds. But a lot of times people will rescue birds, quotation, and say that they're helping, but really what they're doing is just their own version of making money, if that makes sense. So you just got to really just know what you're getting into with birds because they are so smart and they are emotionally invested in you. And so if you get a bird and it doesn't work out for you, you're really hurting the bird more than if you know what you're getting yourself into and just give it a really good life. And honestly, I highly recommend that people start out with lovebirds and parakeets, the smaller birds that have a shorter life, so that you can learn a lot about birds because there's so much to learn. And I'm on a soapbox here, so I'm trying to keep it because I'm not even reading comments. I'm sorry. Um, but the so many things to learn about birds, and like when I started with birds, I didn't know anything about them, and now I've learned so much. And I think now, if I were to get a rescue bird, I would be able to help that bird. I'm still not ready, but at some point, if I were to rescue a bird that needed a good home, I would be able to help it. Work through the psychology of it and all that stuff because they come with baggage, and taking on a bird that you're not ready for is not really helping them, even though you're trying to help. Does that make sense? Anyway, okay, off my soapbox. If you're just new at getting birds, get a hand tamed, brand new little baby bird and learn from that bird, and then go from there, branch out from there, because birds are such a great experience if you start out right and have the right, experience. Okay, back to the comments. Yeah, I love Frog's little fluffy face. Love him. Anyway, but yeah, I don't have to tell you that, but I will. I'll tell you lots of times I love Frog. You have two cats? Oh my gosh, how was that, Kelly? Feeding a cat with an eyedropper? Yeah, animals definitely need to be rescued. I mean, there are definitely animals out there that need to be rescued. My point with the birds and getting so much to learn, right? I mean, cats and dogs, they kind of take care of themselves, and really you need to love them and pet them and feed them, right? But with birds, you actually have to be able to speak to them. Like, and I'm not talking the polywana parrot kind of speak. I'm talking like you have to be able to communicate with them, recognizing body language and being able, like with Toki, he will not stop biting you until you figure out what it is specifically that he's mad about. And if you can't, you can't just pet him and call it all better. And if you approach him before he's ready to, that doesn't go over well either. I mean, there's so many levels on birds that it's just, you have to know about birds. You have to be able to speak their language before you can really help a bird. So learn on a bird that starts out being acceptable, accepting your way of doing things. That's my advice on it. Um, son, I feel sad for him. I don't even know how long ago it was, but I feel sad for him. Well, and Bernetti, birds don't have to be as expensive as they can be. I mean, you can buy everything from the store and they can be really expensive. But like you can find videos on how to make your own bird toys and make them safe for the birds. And by the way, a lot of the bird toys at the store aren't really safe for birds. They just sell them because they look pretty, right? Um, but there's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of things. Birds live in nature without anybody's help. So we can do things, we can create things and make things for them that are safe for them, as long as we understand a few little details, you know. But no, they're not as expensive as they make them to be. Bird food is expensive though, so if you're like me, I'm a little bit too chicken to just only go on my own diets. But um, yeah, past that, the bird toys, find good sales and just don't even worry about, just make it yourself. It's kind of fun too. All right, I'm really slow with comments. Sorry, guys. Um, Fiber Floozy, hello and welcome. You've been here for a few minutes. I'm sorry that I have not spoken. I'm like all caught up in the conversation, so I apologize. But hello and welcome. I'm really behind on the comments, but I love that you guys are commenting and talking to each other. Awesome. Oh yeah. So with Frog, I had to feed him since he was just a couple of days old. So scary because these big hands, and Frog is like this big when I started hand feeding him. He fit right in the center of my palm. So tiny. And I'm not really the most graceful person. And so I'm afraid when I pick him up, even that young, that I'm just going to squish him or break something, you know? So very scary to hand feed them when they're little. And then, oh, it's very messy. And Frog's still, he's always a messy eater. Well, he's eating on his own now, and so he's not so messy. But yeah, and every 2 hours, like, you're going to kill him if you don't. And it's terrifying because I'm not really big on schedules either. Like, you can tell how my live streams go. They're here and there and wherever. But, whew, ooh, making bread yummy. Did your mouse survive? See, I'm like that. When I was a kid, I used to go out and find the baby mice, and I would take them and try and keep them alive. I didn't know anything, though. I was terrible at it. But, and now that I'm a mom and have had mice infiltrate my stuff, I don't love them quite as much, but I am a softie like that, too. I like the little babies so much. Oh, it's probably, sorry about the chirps. That's Froggy. If for some reason my lovebirds make the mic go nuts. So I apologize when he gets really loud. And I haven't figured it out yet. I can't figure out how to, it's like the perfect tone that it just drives people crazy. My son used to play Xbox with a mic in there, and he would complain all the time, and I just laugh at him. But now that I'm trying to figure it out, I'm not laughing so hard. Don't tell him that though, because mud or whatever. I'm not in the mood. Yes, Bernetti Paratown. That's a great channel for getting inspiration on how to make toys and good stuff for birds. You can learn a lot from watching Sherry's birds. A lot. Yeah, it's kind of rough. See, it's getting out of control. Toki's now eating my computer. Come here, Toki. So this is why I don't keep them out for live streams very much. I could probably keep Froggy. He's a little bit more chill. Toki goes right back over to the computer. Toki, come here. He's like, I can't. I have a computer to eat. Come here. What you doing? What you doing? Huh? Are you eating that computer? All right, so I like to end on the half, so we're gonna wait for the half hour. I didn't stop at noon. Oh, Toki, no, that wasn't nice, buddy. Be nice to Frog. Be nice to him. Little frog man, you gotta be nice. There, you hear that? Peace and quiet. It won't last very long. Frog's very happy to just sit and get head scratches. It's not the birds. Okay, well, I don't know what it is then. I don't hear anything on my end, but okay, well then I will. And thank you very much for your input and all of your support and just the great conversations, you guys being here. You guys have a fantastic day and we'll see you around.